Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Braylon. Thank you for being here. Okay, so tonight it's gonna be just like a little personal, to kind of give people a little bit of who I am, my life, my struggles, things that I've gone through, things that I'm going through. Um, and it's not just me, anybody who wants to come up and, speak on themselves, or, you know, they're welcome to do that. Well, as you all know, I am Louisiana Chick. Sure. Yeah, that's not my government name, but that's who I am. Born and raised, I'm a Louisiana girl, swamp girl. If you know anything about Louisiana, we covered by swamp and all that stuff. So, that's just who I am. I grew up in a little small town, uh, probably 6 hours from New Orleans. Um, in the country, my grandparents, my mom, we formed. We did that, all of that good stuff. And I had a great upbringing. We weren't rich. Um, we were actually poor. We just didn't know it because they came through. And so, um, my mom was my mom was married. I have two older sisters. She was married to their dad, and they separated years before I was even thought of. I'm 13 years younger than one of my sisters, and 16 years younger than the other. Um, she pretty much was a single parent without, other than the help of my grandparents. And so when people speak about a woman can't raise children by themselves, I know that's a damn lie. I've seen it done numerous times, and I saw my own do it. And she did it while dealing with her own personal past traumas, mental health things. Is she was a wonderful mom, wonderful grandma. She was a wonderful person. She was a graduate of Grambling State University. She um wanted to be an English teacher. She spoke really well. She was on us about our upkeep and how we kept ourselves up, our mannerism, how we spake, and all that stuff. And like I said, my mom was a great woman. Great woman. I mean, and she's been gone 16 years. And I tell everybody that you never get over losing your parent, your especially my mom. But you learn how to deal with it with time. And so, you know, I just appreciate everything that she taught me and instilled in me or whatever. And like I said, she raised three girls. And I was her worst one. I was my mom's worst child. I always got good grades and everything like that, but I had anger problems. And you know, around middle school age, I started acting out at school, and this wasn't from a lack of discipline because my mom, Ella J, oh, she didn't play. I knew that I was gonna get it. I knew that I was gonna be on punishment, yet I still did. So I often tell parents when they say, "Oh, well, this such and such, he doing this, that, and the third, and he wasn't raised like that." all you can do is pour into your children and still good things in them. Like the Bible says, you train a child up when they're young, and when they get older, they won't depart from it, and that is true. That to me, this they might stray off. You don't instill good in them. They might stray off and go out there. They might start getting in trouble, whatever. But eventually, they gonna remember what you instilled in them. God word never returns void. And I'm living proof of that. Like I said, about middle school, I started getting in trouble, fighting. I ain't gonna even, yeah, that was me. I was a fighter. Um, I held a lot of anger in. There was a lot of things. My father, um, he lived, a couple of miles down the road. I knew he was and all that stuff, but he wasn't a full time dad. But that didn't matter because my grandfather, my uncles, my older cousins, all stood in the gap as father figures to me. And so that wasn't a big part of my anger, I thought, until later on. Um Living in the South, anybody that lives in the South, regardless to what people say or people think, and yes, it's 2024, and back then it was the 90s, early 90s, right off the 80s. We dealt with a lot with racism, and that's been always been something that has been hard for me to deal with, the racism of it. And people like to, I've heard people say what happened way back then. It's not what happened way back then is still happening right now. Me and my cousins and different our schoolmates, where I'm from, small community. Um, we all call each other family. We all grew up together. We all held each other down, and we fought it. I mean, we fought the racism and all that stuff. And like I said, I had to deal with that. I ended up, when I was about 14, getting into some serious trouble over a fight behind being called a nigga. And this particular fight landed me in legal trouble. Now, the girl who was Caucasian started the fight, initiated the fight. She got the short end of the stick, but she initiated the fight. And I ended up getting in trouble, and I had to be evaluated. And I actually thank God for that. Because if it had not been for that situation and me getting in that trouble and having to see somebody professionally, I may have never known that I actually had like some mental things going on with myself. Um my mom was a schizophrenic. She did well. She took her medicines, and all that stuff, and she was fine. You never know unless you were in the family, or there when at a point when she was you know manic or something. But anyway, after that fight, and me having to see somebody professionally about the anger issues, I found out that I actually do and did have a problem. Something called IED. It's intermittent um basically what it is uh someone who can't control their anger and it becomes dangerous. And I'm pulling this up for y'all. Bear with me. It said it's often overlooked. A mental disorder identified by episodes of anger and sudden outbursts in which the person loses control entirely. Um. So anyway, my mom and myself, we found that out. I was placed on medication, and I went to talk to the counselor and stuff, and all that good stuff. And for the most part, I felt a lot better because I knew that there was something wrong. It could be the most minute thing that would send me into a rage. And when I say a rage, I'm talking about I would literally lose it. And I'm just so thankful, that fight, led to me being having to have be being evaluated and finding out what the root cause of it was, you know. Um and it's helped me tremendously. So I did pretty well. I ain't gonna tell the lie. Oh, I got after that I was perfect because I was not. Even to this day. um, I still it's not as bad as I don't handle things like I used to, but um, and my family and friends they'll tell you, I'm good as gold. But just please, like they'll literally hide things from me because they know that once I'm mad and ain't no turning it off. I always tell people if you cross me, I'm telling you, yeah, the best thing for you to do is just go and call the police. And I'm not bragging because it's sad. Nobody wants to be a person that can't fully control their selves, their angers, their emotions, or whatever. But yeah, yeah. Um. Anyway, I did okay as far as like school. Well, I did exceptional in school. It's just staying in school, and not being suspended or whatnot. My grades were always well. I always had an interest in like probably because I grew up with my grandparents and they were elderly. Like I always had a thing for, helping like the elderly and kids and stuff like that. So, going into nursing wasn't wow, pretty much that was gonna be it. And around this area, that's the thing, nursing men, most men around this area are working at mills, cops, ambulance drivers, that sort of thing. It's no big corporate Fortune 500 companies to, be a part of and stuff like that. Um, I got married when I was 19 years old. I was still a baby. And I married a guy that and I'm still married today. Um, we've been married for 21 years and we've been together for 24 years. And he is the calm to my storm. I honest to God don't believe that there is a man alive that can actually deal with me the way that that man can. He hold on one second. Okay. I'm sorry about that. I am back. Hey sis, how you doing? No, ma'am, you're not the only one who heard nothing. But anyway, where was I? I was saying that yeah, I've been married for 21 years. Uh to a one of the strongest men I know. Cause baby, if you know me, you know you got to be strong to deal with me. I ain't lying. And everybody in my family always say that Hobo is, you know, like strongest of the strong, cause baby, it take a lot. I'm a lot or whatever. But yeah, we've been married 21 years, together 24. We got two children, two living children. One I have our oldest is 22 years old, and our youngest is 12, going on 50. Uh, I'll be talking to you guys probably later on through the week about her. Her name is Heavenly Unique. We call her Nook, and she is absolutely amazing. Um, she's deaf and autistic, and I just wanna touch on that subject, bring awareness to children with disabilities, because they need their own. That's a different community, and they need their own support. Anyway, like I said, I found out about the anger issues, and everything, and that didn't stop anything. Well, even with, like I said, yeah, even after we were married, and I had my first son, I was still something else. And it's nothing to be proud of to have been in them streets, ratchet, fighting, cutting, shooting, whatever. But I share my story with others, and I share my story with the younger generation because they need to know that some of the stuff that they go through and that they're going through and doing, a lot of us already been there. Now I tell anybody all the time, um, it's by God's grace that I am not unalived or in jail, and that ain't no lie. I have done it all. I done thought. I not see one thing I didn't do. I never was a thief. I wasn't a thief, but I was a fighter. I didn't care what was going on. I run in there. I've been stabbed. Done a whole lot of stuff in my younger age or whatever. That, like I said, could have landed me dead or in jail. And it's only by God's grace that it did. And look at her. See, you know what? It's hard to find good sisters these days. Prosperity, thick girl, 40, she still something else. Ain't that something? I ain't by myself. And let me tell y'all some prosperity. Uh, prosperity is so funny to me. I love her to death. I really do. And and it's crazy that I built this relationship with her because I'm not one to trust people. But I knew that there had to be some realness, some genuineness in her, because I was able to open up to her about things that I wouldn't even share with some of my family. And she's been there for me. And I've been through some stuff. Like I call her, she pick up, she listening or whatever, and like she done helped me through a lot of hard times. So and they see me in them YouTube streets or whatever, and baby, I'm windmilling for her. Just know I don't care. Now, is she wrong? I don't care. I don't care. I'm still rocking with her. We all been wrong. I'm talking about what she's been for me. And I've never met her personally, but I know her. Like we talk every day. She supports me. She gonna say, well, this ain't right, that what, and it's hard to find genuine people like that. And another one that's been very genuine is Braylon Lee, encouraging, supportive, and all that stuff, man. You don't find people in these times that are like that. And if you find people that are loyal and they generally give a fuck, you need to keep them. You need to keep those type of people. Um, I ain't gonna even cry. Like I said, it as of lately, and like I said, I call Prosperity, and we'll talk on the phone, and she's silly anyway. She gonna do something to make you laugh and take your mind off there, and you need that. I really thank God for her. And I pray that God just continues to bless her, keep her, covered, and help her to grow. Um, None of us are perfect. And I hated that she was painted in a bad light, uh, as a content creator, because getting to know her, that's not who she was or who she is. But people are going to believe what they want to believe because they have formed their own notion about who you are in their minds. And you can't change what people say or what they think. All you can do is keep pushing forward. So that's that. Now back to discussing old Gangster Crystal. Old Gangster Crystal was something else to her. Something else, ma'am. I'm telling you. It took nothing to get me out there in those streets. And I took advantage of my mom then because my mom kept my son. I worked and stuff. I've always worked. But my mom would keep my child or whatever. And so I didn't worry about nothing. So it wasn't nothing for me to go to work, get out work, and go be a street pharmacist, and all that stuff. Um, and one time, this is what ended that for me. One time, when one of me and my closest cousins were we had made a run, said go if you know what re up mean, you know what re up mean. So we were coming back. We was almost home. We'd been to Texas, and we was coming back home. Not even 45 minutes from the house. Uh, I swerved a little bit and got pulled over. Now, had that cop lifted the hood of that car, y'all don't know nothing about Crystal other than me, myself, being in jail for a long time. So we got pulled over. Me and my cousin I was like, I ain't got no record. So, and he did. And I was like, well, this is my stuff. So I'm going to take my own lick. He was like, nah, you got that, baby. whoop, I whoop, and um, this, that, and the third. Honey, did I tell you my mama didn't been dead over 16 years, baby? It's way past 7 years. So guess what? All right, feds. Hi, feds. Anyway, the officer, said, well, he pulled me over for swerving a little bit. And I told him, yeah, we came back from somewhere, my little light on my dad. I said, oh well, my dad's not doing well, and we just left from the hospital seeing him, and I'm kind of tired and everything. And he was like, well, these roads out here, such and such a, he was an older Caucasian man, and he asked where we lived, and I told him, where we live. He actually knew my grandparents, and so he was like, well, do they still fish on that pond out there? I'm like, oh my God. And I was just talking to him, trying to keep it together, nervous. I mean, nervous. And he was like, well, you be careful and you tell Mr. AJ that I'm going to come down there and try to get over there to that pond of his and all that. That night, when we made it to the house, I told my cousin, I said, I don't spend my money on this right here. So I got to make my money. After this, I'm done. That was my warning before destruction. Because I had done, been moving like that from for a long time. And never, got pulled over or anything. But that time I did, and I felt like that was God's way of telling me, it's time to, let that go. And after I unloaded that, baby, that was that. But I think with this generation of kids, they so once you get in that life of being a street pharmacist or whatever, you get addicted to that fast and easy money. And as fast and easy as it is, it ain't worth the time that you'll pay if you get caught. Cause I don't know about other states, but here in the boot in Louisiana, baby, you get more time for selling narcotics, getting caught with narcotics, than you would if you unalive somebody, and that's a fact. So all that, you know, that stuff, that fast money, easy money, is not worth it. It's absolutely not worth it. I mean, everybody wants to, you know, get that money quickly. I get it. I was there, but it's not worth it. And black men, the thing with y'all is y'all got two taught. You black and you a man. So the system is set up against y'all. That's real talk. Billy Ray can get caught with an ounce or two of weed. Billy Ray is going to the house. But you, Taquan, that got the same ounce of weed that Billy Ray got, you going to jail. And they gonna chop fit, they gonna do everything they can to make sure it's a felony. See, they don't, what y'all, the younger generation that don't understand, it's not them just arresting y'all. They You can't own a gun. You can't own, you can't vote. And that's the biggest thing. If they take away your right to vote, you don't have a say in anything. And it ain't right, it ain't fair, but that's the world we live in. And they'll say why everything got to be about race. At the end of the day, it is about race. It is about race. And I'm going to share this story of something that's going on now with my own son. My son is 22 years old. Doesn't have a record. Now, he ain't always been perfect, you know. But he never had a record. He never had anything like that. He's been dating this one girl, his youngest child's mom, for about 4 years. And when they met, she had a 2-year-old that, I love her just like she, my flesh and blood, because she is. He's been raising her. She'll be 6 February the 1st. She's 5. He does everything for her. Buys for her, feeds her, make sure she's fed, make sure he keeps a roof over her head, all that stuff. He, doesn't treat her any different than he does her sister or her brother. I talked to my son growing up throughout the years and explaining to him how the world is, especially living here in the South, and made him aware of things and how things operated. And it's 2020 something, but it might as well not be, because the more things change, the more things stay the same. My granddaughter, the one, like I said, that he's been raising, absolutely loves and adores her dad, and the same with him. I'm trying not to get upset, so I get this out. Um, about 4 months ago, my granddaughter, who had been acting out at school, for a couple of weeks, um, received a spanking from her dad. Um, Nobody thought anything of it. Kids get spankings all the time. However, she is Caucasian. My son is not. But like I said, he's been raped since she was 2 years old. Um, and even her biological dad will tell you that he got every right to discipline my granddaughter, because he's been there for her. He's been in the house. He's been taking care of her, making sure she good and all that type of stuff. However, he spanked her or whatever, or like we say down here, whooped her. And not thinking any of, if you're abusing a child, you're gonna try to hide that, correct? Anyway, so he spanked her, sent her to school the next day, nothing of it. Like, my granddaughter came home next day, got off the bus or whatever, like nothing happened. I get a call later on. Oh, my son's been arrested. So he lives within walking distance from our home. And so his girlfriend was telling me what was happening. They're saying, they're arresting him for spanking Lila. So you would think that there would be a charge of, something like abuse or something. Oh no, man, no, sir. I go up there to the police department. They have charged him with domestic violence and domestic violence was something child endangerment or whatever it was. And I was like, my first thought was, okay, the baby mama must have, said something for it to be a charge such as that when. And plus, they came to the house and questioned him and the baby, girlfriend, child's mom, and everything. And like I said, I've been working in the medical field a long time. And yes, where there are mandated reporters, people that are mandated to report certain things. So the protocol was for the Lala said that she went to the school nurse because she got a scratch on her finger. She got a scratch on her finger from my son's. He wears his class ring and another ring that he has, and I guess when he spiked he scratched on the finger, whatever. She went to get a band-aid. Upon going to the band-aid, and you have to know my granddaughter, because honey, she would talk your ear out. The nurse began to ask her a series of questions, and when Lala said that she got a spanking or whatever, was asked where she got the spanking, she showed her or whatever, and then she was like, "Well, could you, take off your clothing and let me, see, what where the whatever." Wrong. At that point, when Lala said she had the spanking or whatever, the nurse was supposed to call the parent. She's 5 years old. You cannot even legally to a child. She was then supposed to, when the parent got there, call, the officials up there to get an official statement of what happened. They did neither of that. They did none of that. And so, my son was arrested. He was in jail for 45 days with no court date. And if you would call the DOC hotline, it had nothing in the system for him. So it was like he was there, but he really wasn't there. They really had nothing on him. Anyway, when they finally did, because of my constant bugging and whatnot, get him a court date or whatever, they gave him, he had no court appointed attorney or anything until that day. And they squeezed him on the docket because the court appointed attorney then said that he had no clue about anything that went on or whatever. So because he didn't know, he just, told my son to plead not guilty. And so we get to court, and when he gets on the stand, remember I told you they charged him with domestic violence with child endangerment, which was a charge that shouldn't have been, because if they questioned him about Lawless would be something with child abuse or something of that nature, but it wasn't. And what it is they know that they didn't follow protocol and that they are facing a lawsuit. Anyway, we get in court. They say domestic violence with a dangerous weapon. Now I'm really pissed. Remember, I told you I got that IED or whatever that is, whatever. I take my medicine faithfully. Like, I lost it. Because, see, what you're not going to do is railroad mine. And if he wrong, he wrong. But that boy ain't do nothing wrong at all. And you going to stick so I asked the lawyer, why was the thing changed or whatever. And he was like, he didn't really know, they just literally dropped it in his lap this morning. He had no clue. So now we're still waiting. He was supposed to have been released on the 16th, but was not released because of all this weather that Prosperity Thick Girl 40 has sent down south from up where she is, and we don't want it. And so yeah, that's where we're at. And I just wanted to share that story of my son and what he's going through right now, because they are railroading our boys every day. And if you don't get in there and stay on those people's asses, they will lose them in the system. We have to start caring about our black boys, our black men, our black girls, our black women. Because honestly and truthfully, nobody else does. Yeah. And like I used to tell my son and his friends and cousins, jail ain't nothing but a modern day plantation. Everything they had on their plantation is right there at that jail. Y'all think that wearing your pants low came from jail? Wearing your pants off your behind came from that plantation. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because they had a thing called book breaking, where they would get the biggest black slave they had to demasculate him. They would put him in front of his wife and children and all, like beat him and rape him. And if you don't believe it, baby, you could go look it up. So the masters on the plantation would then have that said man wear his pants low, so other people would already know that he'd been broken. It's a dirty, dirty world that we live in. And yeah, we got problems within our own community that we got to work on. We got to get back to teaching our children that if you got to work 2 and 3 jobs, don't go. Hey, it's better than you out there banging. It's better than you out there slanging. All that. We get back to doing that or whatever, the same thing gonna keep going on and keep going on and keep going on, and it's sad. They don't care about us killing us, because in most racist minds, They killing two birds with one stone. You kill, unalive somebody with the same skin color as you. One gone, one's unalive, and one's going to the penitentiary. One less and one blessed to the penitentiary, where you got to, that it's literally a modern day plantation. They tell you when to eat, when to sleep, when to shit, when to whatever. Your life don't mean nothing in there. And that's what I always told my son. And like I said, he ain't never been in trouble or whatever. And he getting to see for himself, over nothing. Over nothing. Now, why wasn't he arrested when it was birthdays? When it's Christmas, need for school. She needed. Why wasn't he arrested for working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, whatever, doing whatever he can to support his family? That's okay. But how dare you, young black man, chastise this young Caucasian girl that you call daughter? And how you know they didn't think, they knew it wasn't no abuse thing? Never once went in their house to check on the sister. Maybe it didn't matter. Yeah, she us. These things are still happening. People don't want it to be out, but these are things that are still happening today. We sit around and we talk about, reality TV shows and different shows we watch and be hard down, mad, and you know, I've even heard like different rappers, fans and stuff meeting up to fight and this, that, whatever. And we fighting each other. And they steady locking us up and unaliving us over bullshit. I'll drop the link in the chat. If anybody want to come up and talk, give their thoughts about anything I've spoken on, or share something that they want to share, you feel free to do so. Cause if not, I think I done shared enough for me, and I gave y'all a little insight into who Louisiana Chick is. Oh yeah, prosperity. had one of her children, a little boy that, you know, she, you know, had at her house, was friends with her kids or whatever, was unalive today as well. And it's like every other day, you're hearing similar stories like that. It's just it's sad, it's sickening. But we got to keep praying that God covers our children, that gives them um wisdom, that, you all that. And sometimes that, we pray their prayers, but I believe, and I know it to be true, God's word never returns void. And if he brings you to it, he'll bring you through it. I've been through some things in my life or whatever that, you know what I'm saying, could have broken me. You know, that's why I say, just remember everything that you instill in your child at a young age. Hey, my mom, instilled in me, the word of God at an early age, singing in the choir, she allowed me to go to different churches or whatever because I sung and stuff. So, I learned a lot at an early age. And when you're young, you don't think about like those things that you're taught or whatever. You don't think, un- until you get to a place in life where there is nowhere to turn and no one to depend on but God. Baby, let me tell you something. And I'm probably the least deserving of anything. God done brought me through so many trials and tribulations and struggles. It baby, they say, I used to hear them say, if I had 10,000 tongues, baby, if I had 20 million tongues, I couldn't thank him enough. And I don't feel deserving of. I'm grateful that he still have mercies on me. Even in my disobedience, even in, you know, me being, you know, who I am, he still blesses me. He still blesses my family. He still covers us. Hmm. I I give a Black History lesson every day. Prosperity. But yeah. Um, well, a little bit over an hour. And so I'm gonna get ready to close this thing out. I put that link out there. Nobody came up, and it's all right. I want to thank little brother Braylon Lee for always coming through and showing support. And of course, my loud crazy sister, Prosperity Thick Girl 40. If you're not already subscribed to Braylon Lee or Prosperity Thick Girl 40, please hurry on over there. What are y'all doing? I mean, y'all gotta be subscribed to them. Like, I mean, you better get subscribed to them. Let's see who else is in here. Okay, Sunshine Rays. Hey, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And if you by chance hit the replay, please like the video, share me with your peeps, get me pushed up in the algorithm and whatever. I hope you know that this live didn't offend anybody, but I was just sharing my life story, some of my life story and things, that I have been through and my ways of dealing with things and how, you know, God is still in the blessing business. Simple as that. I want to thank you all for being here. And with that being said, I guess we gonna vacate the premises. And we will do my Married to Medicine and Real Housewives of Potomac review today. But, I wanted to do my own line. I never go with the flow. I'm different, baby. I'm different. And so I I'm out of here. Be a blessing to someone else. Love on someone else. Encourage someone else. Live, laugh, love. Give yourself a hug. And I'm out of here.